MJBulls is proud to produce the Raising Cannabis Capital podcast. Today's episode will begin after this brief message from our sponsor.
This ain't no desk job, but it's what you gotta do to scale up to this in a single growing season. It's how in Oregon alone, we grew and harvested the single largest crop of CBG in the world. Grit, tenacity, hell, whatever you want to call it. The crew at Hamptown USA has it by the bucket load. Just getting our seeds in the ground back in spring and growing them till fall was nothing short of heroic. Propagation, planting, maintaining what we have, and building what we need. Trust me, this shit ain't easy. But when it comes to harvest time, our team bumps the bar up to a whole new level. Next comes processing. Everything but the top flower goes off to get turned into crude, distillate, isolate, and water-soluble ready. Our product, like our team, is nothing less than best in class. This plant has always had the power to change the world, but it needs people to make it happen. We're lucky to have those people right here at Hamptown USA.
If there's an infestation or a breakout of a mold or something like that, it happens because of a variation within the canopy. So with our technology, they can zero in and find out where those anomalies are.
From MJBulls Media, it's the Raising Cannabis Capital Show. Today we're joined by Bob Pullar, the Chief Financial Officer of Urban-Gro, which is a systems integrator and agricultural technology company. Bob, thanks for being on the MJBulls podcast.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Well, you're going to need to bear with me today because just by watching what Urban-Gro is doing and how much you provide to cultivation facilities, we need to take this thing a little bit slow. Otherwise, you're going to overwhelm everybody. So let's start off with explaining what a systems integrator does.
Okay. I like to consider ourselves as the IBM of cannabis. What that really means is we take disparate technologies and systems, and through our expertise in design and engineering, we stitch those things together. What we do in a nutshell is we help large cultivators scale.
I'm assuming that you have a design team to help these people scale up their organizations. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, and that's really where we start. We'll get a blueprint of the building and the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing layout, and we'll take that and start to design the flow of water from the walls all the way to each individual plant. So if you think about it, for like a 100,000 square foot grow, we designed the flow of water, nutrients, and fertilizer to a bench, which there can be hundreds of benches. If you can imagine what a blueprint would look like, moving water from a massive tank, mixing that with fertilizer and nutrient in the proper dosage, and we're talking about a parts per million basis, and then taking that directly to each individual plant. So it's very complicated, requires great detail and analysis, and we really need strong engineers to help calculate the flow of water and those nutrients.
I'm on your website right now, and which, by the way, it's a very nice website, but you're a one-stop shop. I mean, you have everything from irrigation and benches and sensors and lighting.
And the lighting, we have a HPS 1,000-watt fixture that is our own light. Tavo Gutierrez, who's one of the co-founders, designed that light. We have a sense and control technology that we've been building over the past year and a half, and that light incorporates that technology internally. So what it basically allows a grower to do is dim the light individually and wirelessly to better meet the characteristics of whatever type of strain of cannabis or any high value crop that someone is trying to grow.
I mean, I'm reading about your software and your technology and how you, not just the lighting, but you integrate all aspects of the grow.
We've invested in these sensors, and the sensors are really cool. So we're capable of putting 2,000 sensors within a 400 square foot area. You can't do that with Wi-Fi or Bluetooth or any of the other technologies. What those sensors do, they measure 3 environmental variables: temperature, humidity, and air pressure. And so we put those above and within the canopy. You've seen a grow, so you know how dense that canopy gets. But what the sensors do is it gives us an internal readings on environmental characteristics that are going on within that canopy. So if there's an infestation or a breakout of a mold or something like that, it happens because of a variation within the canopy. So with our technology, they can zero in and find out where those anomalies are, and through, maybe just adjusting a fan or fixing a light, they can actually, manage it a little bit better.
I want to take a minute to tell you about some really innovative things that our sponsor, Cream of the Crop, is doing in the cannabis space. Their brand is on fire. They have the 5th best-selling indoor flower brand in the state, and they're profitable, growing their business at 10% a month year to date. They're succeeding by helping cultivators turn profits through operation management and consulting in exchange for supply agreements. By bringing 30 plus years of cultivation experience, award-winning genetics, ultra-efficient SOPs, proprietary nutrient mixes, and their brand, they're able to help both operators who are new to the space and ones who want to just increase efficiency. In fact, they just increased profits for one of their clients by $700,000 per month. Just incredible. But what's really exciting is that they're expanding their highly scalable model beyond California. That's right, they're accepting applications across the country for 2021 and 2022 partnerships. Also, if you're planning to invest in cannabis, you should definitely look at Cream of the Crop because they're doing a capital round in early 2021 to help with their brand's national expansion. To learn more about partnering with Cream of the Crop or investing in their expansion, go to creamofthecropgardens.com. That's creamofthecropgardens.com.
Yeah, and we also have on the docket for end of first quarter a substrate sensor that you stick in the soil or the cocoa, and we were able to read another 6 additional variables as it relates to the soil. So it's a big data play, right? So we're pulling together the characteristics of the environment, of what's happening in the soil. With our investment in this controls technology, we can trace back to, when was it watered, when was it fed, what fertilizers were used. And from a big data perspective, you can really take that information and start to see, man, when we played with this variable, or, let's say we decided to use a little less nutrients, a little more fertilizer here, and it resulted in a much better yield or a higher concentration of THC or whatever. It's basically we're recording all of that stuff, and we can go back, find out what we did, and repeat it.
Wow.
Because of the data, it allows a grower to be, more scientific in how they approach this. And the cool thing, Dan, is that this isn't just limited to cannabis. I think we're very lucky to be able to play in the space where there's a lot of desire for technological innovation, but there's also enough margin for these guys to go ahead and start to experiment with these things. Ultimately, our goal is we get this technology to scale and we take it over to, you've heard of like vertical grows in major cities or other types of indoor farming that happen in urban areas. So there's a huge play here, and cannabis just gives us the opportunity to perfect the technology. Then this isn't pie in the sky. These are some real research around the idea of this urban farming feeding a fast-growing population around the world.
Yeah, and you're not doing it with government subsidies or anything. This is just because the market, right? You're actually
they can't do it in ag because the margins are so low.
It's actually the opposite of government subsidies. It's the reverse, and it's working. Oh my gosh! Well, that's good. Well, speaking of funding, how are you paying for all this expansion? Are you raising capital?
We had a raise in October. We went out for 2.5. We were oversubscribed. I think we came in around 2.7. But that raise was part of direct public offering, which is a little different than an IPO. So sold the shares in October. Those shares become the float for our offering, which hopefully it'll happen in the next month or two. As we go public here and as we start to realize the strong demand for things like our proprietary light, our controls, sensing control technology, we are currently in discussions with about 3 separate funds to raise $5 million.
So the UrbanGro website address is urban-gro.com. Bob, can you tell our listeners how they can find information about your technology company?
It's called soletech.ag, and it really gets into our proprietary technology on this.
I'm going to have all this information on the MJBulls website. Bob, this has been great. I am really impressed. I shouldn't say impressed because I knew about your company. I really wasn't aware of how deeply involved with the process you were, and I'm very impressed. Thanks a lot for being on the show.
Absolutely, yeah. And everyone thinks of Urban-Gro as a distributor, and that's old news. We think we're meeting a very strong unmet need in the market, and I think the sky's the limit for us.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Thanks again, Bob. Crappie's Feel Better Company is a cannabinoid CPG company with a line of easy-to-use CBG, CBD, and CBN products built for the weekend warriors, the weekday Zoomers, and anyone in between. Crappie's next-gen products incorporate pharmaceutical-derived chemistry to precisely blend minor cannabinoids and terpenes, creating a series of proprietary formulas for hyper-targeted use cases. Harnessing a team of experts with over 75 combined years of chemistry experience, the company relies on its novel solubility technology, state-of-the-art delivery, consistent results, and unique eye-catching branding to stand out from the crowd. Crappie's executive team and chemists have created a vast and diverse product pipeline to maintain relevance in a saturated market. To find out how you can participate in Crappie's Feel Better expansion, which includes major retail placements, university-executed clinical trials, IP and patent submissions, GMP and API scale-up, and international distribution, go to crappiesfeelbetter.com or on Instagram at crappiesfeelbetter. Today's show was made possible by the generous support of our sponsors, like Alt36, the country's premier blockchain payment processing platform that's providing dispensaries and its customers with a safe and secure payment option other than cash. To learn more, go to alt36.com.